Well, I hit the panic button at first, but Victor Wembanyama's concussion does not mean that it is over for the San Antonio Spurs. There are plenty of reasons to be concerned, but as we're about almost 48 hours into this, I fully believe that the Spurs can still win this series in 5 games. How did we get here? What are the next steps for Victor Wembanyama? That's what everyone wants to know. Obviously, it started on Tuesday night when Wemby suffered a concussion in the second quarter versus the Portland Trail Blazers, where his face literally bounced up off the ground. Did he lose consciousness for a second there? I'm not sure. I don't think he did. He went limp for a second, but he was able to readjust his arms and place his face on top of them. And it was a good sign that he was able to get up, sit for a second, and he immediately ran to the locker room. And I actually thought he was going to come back, but then he was placed in concussion protocol and ruled out for the rest of the game, as he should have been. I thought the Spurs were going to be able to hold on to that game. They ran away with it for a second in the fourth quarter, and then they didn't. And that's when I started panicking. I was like, man, it might be over. If Wemby misses 2 games, it might actually be over for the San Antonio Spurs. Because without Wemby, going into Portland with the series tied at 1 game apiece is just not good. The Blazers are going to be playing with a lot of emotion. The crowd is going to be really into it, and I feel like they have a better chance now that Wemby is out. So in all honesty, I don't like where the Spurs are right now. I feel like Game 3 is the all-important, critical, must-win game of the series for both teams. I believe that if San Antonio wins Game 3 on Friday, with or without Victor Wembanyama, the series is over in 5, as I mentioned earlier. But the Spurs have to win Game 3. They simply have to, and they have to present themselves from being down 2-1 in Game 4 in Portland. Going up in Game 3 gives you the 2-1 cushion, and that was really what I wanted them to have heading into Game 3. I wanted them to be up 2-0, knowing that there was a chance that Victor could miss Game 3 and be like, listen, Victor's out. You're up 2-0. You have the room to make some errors. You have the room to make some mistakes, and if you lose a Game 3, you still have a 1-game lead over the series, and Victor is probably going to come back in Game 4. I think getting Game 2 would have really put the Spurs in a position to win this series in 5. I still think they will, but it would have been a little easier in my opinion. I do think there is a chance that Victor is back for Game 4. And if the Spurs are up 2-1, and then they get Victor back, then the gap between the Spurs and Blazers is big enough once again that San Antonio has the opportunity to go up 3-1, head to Game 5, and end the series. If they get Game 3, it's over in 5. I don't care if Victor Wembanyama doesn't play the rest of the series. If they get Game 3, it is over in 5, and San Antonio moves on to the second round. But this short-handed Spurs team has to come out with a chip on their shoulder considering how Game 2 ended. This game was in their hands. They were up 14 points. They only scored 10 points in the final 8:25 of that game. De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper, none of them could get their offense going in the fourth quarter. No one was able to get it going, and those are a few guys who have struggled to score the ball efficiently so far through the first 2 games of this series, and that was a big reason why they lost Game 2. Those 4 will not be struggling that much at the same time again. They simply won't. Those 4 will not all have bad games, especially now with Victor Wembanyama out. But as they get ready for Game 3, I believe that 2 days without Wemby will probably benefit the team, because San Antonio went 12-6 in games played without Victor Wembanyama this season, and they went 2-1 against this Blazers team. In the regular season, Spurs and Blazers faced off 3 times. All 3 times, the Spurs were without Victor Wembanyama. San Antonio had to adjust on the fly on Tuesday to being without Victor Wembanyama. But now they will have 72 hours of preparation to get this team ready to potentially go out there with him on Friday. Everyone will be ready to go. The guards will be ready. Luke Cornett will be ready especially. Carter Bryant will be ready because he'll probably see some time at that backup 4 and maybe even that 5 because Mitch Johnson has ran him in a lot of small ball situations this season. The point is, Spurs had to adjust on the fly to getting ready to be without Wemby. And they've done it a few times this season, but in a playoff atmosphere, things change. And now the Spurs have time to install a game plan and be ready to go without him. I still believe that the Spurs are the better team. in this series, even without Wemby. You'll need guys to step up, and especially De'Aaron Fox. But in the games without Wemby this season, he's done that, averaging 24.6 points, 4.4 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 49.1% from the field, and 38.1% from three, as he led the team to that 12-6 record. He is a big reason why the Spurs are second in the West, because in the games without Victor Wembanyama, he showed up when it mattered most, and the Spurs still won games. And that I wasn't expecting the Spurs to hang on as well as they did without Wemby, but thanks to De'Aaron Fox, they did. The point is, this Spurs team is deep. Fox, Castle, Vassell, Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, who was just named Sixth Man of the Year, Luke Cornett, Julian Champagnie, one of the best three-point shooters in the game and has become one of the most valuable role players on an extremely cheap contract. Carter Bryant, young, explosive, so much motor. Harrison Barnes, a guy who's been there before, who's won a championship, who knows what it takes. The Spurs are perfectly capable of going into Portland on Friday and leaving that game with a 2-1 lead in this 7-game series. But the biggest thing the Spurs will miss is Wemby's presence and his gravity. San Antonio wins games by controlling both ends of the paint and the rebounding battle, and those were areas that they struggled in after Wemby left with a concussion. It's not just about scoring inside, but also defending the paint. The Spurs are really going to miss him, and that's going to change those aspects because you worry about his defense, and that's a lot of things that a lot of these guys on this roster just simply can't make up. Portland now has the ability to space the floor. They have the ability to spread out in kind of a sort of 5-wide situation and attack the basket with a Danny Avdija, a Scoot Henderson. They have the ability to get downhill, attack Luke Cornett, who is a smaller big and not as lengthy of a big. The Portland whistle, it's been a factor all series. Portland's getting to the line. Danny Avdija is one of the biggest and best players in the league at drawing contact and getting to the foul line, whether you want to consider that ethical hoops or not. But the Blazers have the ability to now get downhill and attack the paint and really dominate that category. Because that's something that when the Spurs win the points in the paint battle, they win games. That battle will become a lot closer if Wemby misses time. But what if he doesn't? Is there a reality where Wemby doesn't miss time? Yes. But it's pretty unlikely. Based on the NBA's concussion protocol, Wemby must be symptom-free for 48 hours, pass neurological exams, and clear protocol in order to return. As I'm recording this, Wemby has been symptom-free for almost 48 hours. He showed up to the practice facility on Wednesday morning, and then he showed up on Wednesday night when they did Keldon Johnson's celebration for Sixth Man of the Year. But that's a good sign because it shows he probably doesn't have any sensitivity to light. He also showed up on Thursday. He was just walking around in a hood, acting like he was in timeout because he clearly wanted to be practicing. On Wednesday night, Shams Charania reported that Wemby did participate in cardio and that his symptoms are not worsening. That's the first good sign. Symptoms are not worsening. If that continues and he reaches that 48-hour mark, he can participate in unrestricted activity. And then on Thursday morning, Mitch Johnson says that Wemby will travel for games 3 and 4. I don't believe he was never not going to travel, but this is a good sign because if a concussion is severe enough, they wouldn't let him travel because of altitude changes, cabin pressure. Those can cause some issues if the concussion is severe enough. But from the time he suffered it, the Spurs had about 72 hours until their next game. He only needs 48. He'll reach the 48-hour mark later tonight. And then he can go into full unrestricted activity if the symptoms have not worsened. It would take a miracle from God himself, but there is a chance that Wemby can clear protocol and play in Game 3. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not. But as this continues to play out, I'm running on a little bit of some delusion, some hope, whatever you want to call it, that maybe there's a chance he can play. If he wasn't traveling for Game 3, obviously he wouldn't play. But someone just said on Twitter to me that he's traveling, which means there might be a greater than a 50-50 chance that he plays. The league-mandated injury report comes out in a few hours, so we'll see where that stands. I assume he'll probably be questionable, but we'll see. Because this is not a typical calf injury, per se, where, he starts getting better, and then it's let's test it. Let's see how he feels. Oh, he doesn't feel so great. Just hold him out. Like, if Wemby is good to go and passes concussion protocol, he's good to go because he passed concussion protocol. When you're going through it, you pass or you fail. There is no in between. If he manages to pass concussion protocol before Friday night's game, he can play. It's that simple. It shouldn't be. But it is. It doesn't sound like it should be. But guess what? It is. If I were a betting man, I would probably say that Wemby sits out in Game 3. The door is open for him to play in Game 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if he misses and then he returns in Game 4. I thought the sky was falling for a second, but it's not. The Spurs are very much in this thing. They need to get Game 3 though. And I still think they win this series. We'll continue to see how this all plays out. If you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new for more Spurs content. Make sure you turn on the post notification bell so you never miss when I upload a video here on Tide Talk Sports. Who do you guys think is winning the NBA championship? Let me know in the comments below who you guys think is going to win it all. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And until next time, this is Tide Talk Sports signing off. I'll see y'all next time.